Religion is an integral part of humanity. Humans find satisfaction in what they seem best, mostly from socio-cultural pursuit, followed with great devotion. Religion is the belief and worship of a supernatural or human power, especially a god. The concept of religion is unique and peculiar to every continent. Africa, prior to the advent of colonial invasion and manipulation, was not an exception from religious practices, beliefs, and devotions. From its trace in history, religion has a fundamental aspect in Africa that shaped its social, political, and sometimes economic life. Welcome to History Africa. Here, we focus on rejuvenating African narrative, exposing the doctrines, customs, culture, and practices of Africa. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell to notify you of our uploads and the like button if you liked the video. Do well to recommend this video to others by using the share option. Now to the big question. Is Christianity a colonial religion? Christianity is the world's largest and most widespread religion with roughly 2.4 billion followers, representing 1/3 of the global population. Its adherents, known as Christians, are estimated to make up a majority of the population in 157 countries and territories. The Christian faith centers on beliefs regarding the birth, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Christians consider the resurrection of Jesus to be the cornerstone of their faith. Let us quickly consider how the religion began. The religion Christianity cannot be talked about without the mention of Judaism. The man whom the religion is rallied on was a Jew. The date of his birth is disputed, but writers like Dionysius Exiguus, using the historical evidence at his disposal, worked out that Christ must have been born 753 years after the city of Rome had been founded. When the religion began as a result of the activities and teachings by a man named Jesus, his followers were not called Christians. They were referred to by their Jewish enemies as the sect of the Nazarene. This can be found in the writing of Luke in Acts 24 verse 5. This was because they were seen to be another emerging sect in Judaism. As of this time, the religious life of the Jews was divided among a number of groups or parties. There were 4 outstanding groups, which were the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Zealots, and the Essenes. Now, Christianity was emerging to join the others. In many instances, this group had clashes on various matters regarding beliefs and worship. For instance, the Sadducees accepted only the 5 books of the Old Testament. They rejected any notion of life after death, denied the existence of angels and spirits, and did not believe in the resurrection of the dead. You can see Matthew 22 verse 23, Acts chapter 23 verse 8. On the other hand, the second but dominant sect, the Pharisees, were more concerned with obedience to God's law. They accepted the whole of the Old Testament and believed in the existence of spirits and angels, life after death, and the resurrection of the body. They paid little attention to temple worship. It is important to note that they were the main enemies of Jesus. They consistently questioned his authority and power. The Zealots, on the other hand, were a party of freedom fighters. According to some writers like N.R. Needham, it was believed that this sect was founded by Judas of Galilee, who wanted to liberate Judea from Roman rule by the use of violence. We also had the Essenes, who were Jews who broke away from ordinary life and lived together in small religious communities. They practiced celibacy, refused to swear oaths, and underwent frequent ritual washing. The rise of what is now Christianity from the activities of Jesus, often referred to as the Nazarene, was seen as a threat to the existing sect and contradiction of the Torah, since most of the sect believed in the Torah either in part or whole. It was recorded that in the first year of the rise of Christianity, the religious movement prospered only within the confines of Judaism and revolved around Jerusalem as its spiritual home. The original followers of Jesus were Jews, and they had no other intention than to remain faithful Jews. Even during the ministerial work of Jesus, he restricted their missionary activities first to the Jews only. They worshipped in the Jerusalem temple temple alongside other Jews and also obeyed the laws of Moses and had a negative attitude towards Gentiles until the crucifixion and death of their leader Jesus, which was sponsored by the Pharisees. The crucifixion was a fulfillment of a prophecy by the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 52 verse 13 and chapter 53 verses 1 to 12. This event revolutionized the religion and brought an entirely new dimension to it. In fact, the entire history of the Christian church is rooted in one central reality: the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. It was after the death and resurrection of Jesus that the religion began to expand consistently like a wildfire. Several emperors tried to suppress the rise of the religion. In AD 64, the Emperor Nero launched the first great official persecution of Christians by the Roman government. Emperor Domitian also unleashed his fury on the church in the final year of his reign. It was Domitian that banished the apostle John to the island of Patmos. The persecution of the early church and the Jewish war, which was led by the zealots against the Roman government, led to the widespread of the religion across all borders, following the fact that the Jews flee from persecution to other regions. Just as it was stated earlier, the religion was not originally called Christianity, but rather the sect of the Nazarene, until when the largest church from a pagan background was founded outside of Palestine in the Roman province of Syria, in the great eastern city of Antioch. The term Christian was first used in Antioch, and the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch. This was because the Gentiles in Antioch saw the similarity between the life of Jesus and that of his disciples. Remember that Jesus was referred to as the Christ. While Christianity started with a small group of adherents, many historians regard the spread and adoption of Christianity throughout the world as one of the most successful spiritual missions in human history. Now, how did the religion get to the continent of Africa? Some persons mistake Christian missionary activities in Africa with the advent of Christianity in Africa. The two are not the same. While the activities of Christian missionaries in Africa is widely associated with colonialism, Christianity existed far way back before colonialism. Though the religion was not a dominant religion prior colonialism, evidence showed that the religion existed in the continent as early as the 1st century AD. Some other evidence to confirm this include: 1. The Arian controversy. This was the greatest theological controversy in the history of Christianity. The controversy was between a man named Arius, a popular preacher from Libya, who was active between 256 to 336, Origen of Alexandria, a theologian and prolific writer, and Alexander the Bishop of Alexandria from 313. This argument all began in Alexandria in 318, and Alexandria was an intellectual, cultural, and religious city in Egypt, and Egypt is in Africa. Alexandria was so advanced and recognized to the point that it was recognized by the Roman government alongside Carthage as the major cities in Africa. The controversy started when Arius from Libya started teaching that the Father alone was God. He stressed that Jesus was a created being formed out of nothing by the Father before the universe was named. He said there was once a time when the Son, Jesus, did not exist. On the other hand, Origen taught that there is a degree or grade of divinity, with the Son being slightly divine than the Father. Alexander, the Bishop of Alexandria, on the other hand, opposed both Arius and Origen. He drew the opposite conclusion from Arius. Alexander insisted that the Son, Jesus, was fully and truly God in all ramifications as the Father. This controversy was resolved when the first Christian emperor, Constantine, intervened, which resulted to the birth of the Nicene Creed. Secondly, according to the writing of Dr. Luke in Acts chapter 8 verse 26 to 40, one of the disciples of Jesus named Philip preached to an Ethiopian eunuch, a high-profile official in charge of the treasury of the kingdom, which means Queen of the Ethiopians. It was recorded that this man returned to Ethiopia believing in Jesus. Ethiopia is in Africa, and this happened during the early age of the church. Thirdly, another notable proof is a Jew named Apollos, a native of Alexandria, who was learned and thorough in scripture. He went to Ephesus teaching about Jesus and converting people into Christianity. Remember that Alexandria was in Egypt. And for it to keep producing learned preachers thorough in scripture, it implies that this great city had Christianity as an influential religion. Fourthly, the activities and influence of reputable men like Tertullian, Perpetua, Felicity, Clement of Alexandria, Origen of Alexandria, Cyprian, Athanasius, and Augustus of Hippo prove the existence of Christianity before the 15th century. The influence of some of these men was as early as the 3rd century. For instance, Athanasius of Alexandria was active between 296 to 373, Augustine of Hippo 354 to 430, Origen of Alexandria 185 to 253, Arius 256 to 336. With careful observation, you will notice that most of the men who had early contact with Christianity were either from Northwest Africa or Northeast Africa, in reference to the Roman Empire. Then, when the Romans spoke of Africa, they usually meant Northwest Africa, the area covered by modern nations of Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, while Alexandria was in Northeast. Christianity in Africa first arrived in Egypt in approximately 50 AD. By the end of the 2nd century, it had reached the region around Carthage. This makes sense and explains why Alexandria bettered a lot of scholars. Fifthly, it is believed that Christianity was brought into Africa by Mark, a disciple of Jesus. According to tradition, in AD 49, about 19 years after the ascension of Jesus, Mark, one of the disciples of Jesus, traveled to Alexandria and founded the Church of Alexandria. The Coptic Orthodox Church, the Greek Orthodox Church of Alexandria, and the Coptic Catholic Church all trace their origin to this original community. He became the first bishop of Alexandria, and he is honored as the founder of Christianity in Africa. Sixthly, it is important to also note that one of the first regions in the world that made Christianity a state religion is in Africa, the Ethiopian Empire, also formerly known as Abyssinia or simply known as Ethiopia, as the empire that historically spanned the geographical area of present-day Ethiopia. In the 4th century, the empire became one of the first regions in the world to adopt Christianity as its official religion. The Nubian kingdoms of Nubasha, Makuria, and Alodia followed 2 centuries later. With this, it is not surprising to know that the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest and most complete Bible on earth. It is said that it's nearly 50 years older than the King James Version. The introduction of Islam to Africa, which came across the Red Sea and landed in Egypt, led to the decline of Christianity in North Africa. Islamic conquest into North Africa brought pressures on Christians to convert to Islam due to specific taxation imposed on non-Muslims and other socio-economic pressures under Muslim rule. It was recorded that Christians were occasionally persecuted, such as during the reign of Al-Hamak. Nevertheless, the Ethiopian Empire was the only region of Africa to survive as a Christian state after the expansion of Islam. Calling Christianity a colonial religion is like attributing the religion to the colonial masters. Christianity in Africa is almost as old as the religion itself. The activities of Christian missionaries in Africa did not introduce the religion in the continent. It only aided the spread of the religion. Thank you for being part of this study. For further contribution and question, please make sure to use the comment section. Do well to click on the subscription icon, hit the like button if you liked the video, and the notification icon to be notified when we upload a new video. Please do well to share this video. This is History Africa.